I never know how to start these videos. I feel so cringe when I'm like, hi guys. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Today is quite a special video for me actually. It's my birthday in now 2 days. I mean, when I upload this, it would have been my birthday already, but my birthday is on August the 13th. I'm turning 25 and I really wanted to make a video on my top 25 lessons that I feel like I've learned in 25 years. And I love watching these videos, like I love watching them on YouTube and like other people's videos, because I just feel like, why not have a fast track to learning these lessons? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're younger, then like knowing all these tips are actually so valuable. And I don't know, they're kind of like my favorite videos to watch. So, well, one of them. So I wanted to, you know, make a video on 25 very important lessons which I feel like I've learned and kind of lived by now. I've kind of like squeezed a lot into each point, so probably is over 25, but I mean, like, there's a lot of lessons to be learned. I'm not really sure on this hair situation. It's a little bit, you know, I had it in French plaits and then I just took it out and then put this headband in, but I just feel like it's a little bit, you know, embodying the Leo mane. I'm just gonna jump straight in because the sun is setting now and I feel like the light is gonna go. I'm still doing my daily vlogs on TikTok, so if you don't follow me, girl, follow me. I'm joking. I mean, I'm not joking, but I'm doing like daily vlogs, like a day in the lives on it. So I don't know if you're interested, check it out. Okay, so point number 1 is be your own biggest fan, lover and supporter. And everyone always says this, they're like, be your own biggest fan, like, you know, be your number one, whatever. And I never really fully understood this in the way, like, I always understood what that meant, obviously, but I don't think I ever fully like embodied it properly, like fully, because, you know, growing up, I wouldn't ever say I was like a massive people pleaser, but as I grew up, I started to realize maybe I had been. Like, not to everyone, I am quite like picky who I give my energy to, but the people that I do choose to give my energy to, sometimes I do, you know, go over and above for them and like leave myself like not fulfilled, if that makes sense. It depends who it's for, but like, I'm very much a giver and I like to give people my best if I really want to, and if that leaves me like short, then sometimes that happens and it doesn't leave me feeling like great at the end of the day, because you can't pour from an empty cup, if that makes sense. And I'm beginning to realize this more as I get older, because it's like, you have to be your number one fan. You have to truly love yourself first before anyone else can truly love you. Because if you think about it, the way that other people treat you, even if it's good or bad, like, you let that in. So if you don't love yourself enough, you're gonna let people who don't treat you well in, and really, like, that's a really fragile place to be. So yeah, you really have to like work on your self-love and your self-confidence and your self-worth. When you do this, you know your worth and you set your boundaries, and you begin to realize that like some of these people in your life are quite temporary, especially in your 20s. So like, you need to be able to protect your energy and not give your all to people that maybe don't deserve it, really. Like, if they're not giving you their enough energy, then like, don't go over beyond to try and please them and give them all your energy, because that's not gonna reciprocate. Like, they're just not for you, or, you know, they just don't have the capacity to give you that energy, which is fine. But like, don't try and people please and overcompensate, I think is what I'm trying to say, to get that attention, because it's just not gonna work. Like, protect your own energy and validate yourself. But I wrote here, this allows you to be your most authentic self, and you will attract people who appreciate you for you, which is so true. Like, you're so unique, so own that, because when you are like your most authentic self, like, people recognize that, and whether they like it or not, you'll attract the people that are meant for you because you're being your true self. Also remember, you're not like, not everyone's gonna like you, and that's okay, because you don't like everyone else either. It's like, if you think about all the people you meet, like, do you really like everyone? Probably not. And people aren't gonna always like you, and that's fine, because you're not for everyone. And that's special, because when you do find those people that you do connect with, and, you know, you do have that special bond with, then that is like, you appreciate that even more. So yeah, that's like a lot of lessons in one point, but you guys know what I mean. Okay, so number 2, how people act towards you is a reflection of them, not you. Don't take things so personally. People can only meet you as far as they've met themselves. And oh my god, guys, I feel like I've learned this mostly in the past year. Like, I sometimes do still, I mean I do still sometimes, if I'm not conscious about it, take things quite personally. I'm just quite a sensitive person, and I would say I'm like an empath, so I feel things really deeply, and I just think about things more than the average person, I think, in terms of like how I feel. And I think understanding that how people act towards you is never actually about you, like, just brings so much peace. Because, and when I say this, I mean like, so for example, someone's not very nice to you, they said something mean, or they're like just not that great to you for no real apparent reason. You haven't really done anything, like you're just trying to be there and just be, and they're just not being great, or they're being snappy, or they're being rude, or whatever. That is not a reflection of you. Like, or if they even say something mean about you, like that is not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them, because in a way it comes from a hurt place within themselves, and you've only just got to show compassion and realize that they are hurting themselves. Because if you think about it, someone who is so happy and content in themselves, why would they want to just randomly hate on someone for no reason? Do you know what I mean? Like, these negative vibes come from insecurities and people that are not happy within themselves in some way. Everyone does it, like everyone falls back into like those types of energies sometimes, but it's just important to be conscious of it and not indulge in them. Because like the more you realize that, you know, if you give off more negative energy, you're only going to get that back. Try not to feed into those sorts of behavior. So things like gossiping, just talking down on people and just judging people and just not being nice and like assuming things. I don't know why I said that so weird. Yeah, that's only gonna bring your energy down, because at the end of the day, like talking behind people's back, like all those kind of things, it doesn't really affect that person. They don't know that you're talking about them, nor should they really care. It's none of their business. But that's only gonna make you feel like, I don't know, it's just not a great energy, you know what I mean? Like, I think people only do that when they feel insecure within themselves, and to recognize that and realize that the way, you know, people treat you is actually a reflection of them. So don't take things so personally, because it's not always about you. Because if you think about it, everyone's always just thinking about themselves most of the time. Like, even meeting someone new, like everyone always thinks about themselves. Like when you meet someone new, you think about how you're coming across, how you're acting. You're never really truly thinking about the other person. So I guess that's another life lesson, is like to really be present within that moment and not think so much about yourself. Anyways, so third is never settle for less than what your heart wants. Know your worth, go for your passions versus what people or society says you should do. So set boundaries within that. So this is definitely a life lesson. I think going through just even like jobs and going after like what I want to do in terms of like even where I want to live, anything really, never settle for less, even though people tell you that you should, or people can tell you like you're not gonna be able to do that because of all these reasons why. Like, if you truly believe that you can, and if you truly have a passion in, you know, what you want, stick to it and believe in yourself and go for it, and don't let anyone else tell you different. Because if you think about it, if you really wanted to do something, say move country, I don't know, random, like what I did, but then your family or your friends being like, no, like you can't do that, like, you know, how are you gonna, I don't know, afford that, or how are you gonna, all these reasons as to why you can't. You can, like, if you really feel like you can, there's always opportunities, and there's always a reason why you can. If there's a reason why you can't, there's a reason why you can. So listen to your heart and follow your passions, because at the end of the day, you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to think, wow, like I really always wanted to move to this country, but I never did because my mum told me I couldn't. Like, do you know what I mean? It's your life, so you really gotta follow your heart and do what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, like, maybe your mum doesn't want you to move, but you should do it for you, and she's got to let you do that, because, or whatever person's got to let you do that to experience your own life, because then you'll build like, that builds like resentment and all this stuff. So yeah, never settle for less and always follow through with what you want to do. Point number 4 is whatever is meant for you will always come to you. There are no wrong or right decisions. When it feels right, trust that God or the universe or whatever you believe in will have your back. So this one I literally believe so much. Like, whatever is meant for you will always be there. So this takes away all the fear, all the panic, the chasing, the wanting. Like, it just makes me feel so much more at peace, because knowing that like what is meant for me will come to me. That sounds really like I don't know, but knowing like, yeah, what is meant for me will be mine, will always be mine, just puts my mind at ease, and also takes away the whole like fear, because like, you know, a lot of the times we don't do something because we're scared of the outcome. But if you always know that there are no real like right or wrong decisions, and if you just follow your gut and just like do what feels right, whatever the outcome, you know that that's meant to happen. And if something should have happened or would have happened, like it would and it will, so like don't worry about it and just don't overthink it. So I think that's also a really important lesson. So number 5, seeing opportunity in challenges. Always do things that scare you or challenge you, and take risks that feel right. So this is kind of embarking on the practicing long-term gratification versus instant gratification. So what I mean by that is short-term instant gratification is things that feel good in the moment, but might not benefit you long-term. In like really simple terms, it might be like, I don't know, you're wanting to, I mean, you're taking it back to wellness, you want to like lose weight and or like lose fat, and there's this like cake. I mean, I do practice like 80-20 rule, but like say you've eaten enough cake today, you know you have, but there's still some more there and you just really want it, and you're just like, you know, you're just gonna eat it because you know it's like so good in the moment, but then after you feel really bad about it because you know it's not helping you get closer to your goals. Is that even a good example? I don't know. Or like working out, you know, you know you should work out but you're not going to because it feels better to just like chill in bed. Like something like that, that is instant gratification because it feels right in the moment, but it's not really going to help you long term. So long term gratification is when you do the hard things in the moment to reap the benefits later. So that might be, yeah, eating more healthily, is that a word? Healthy. So yeah, that might be eating more healthy, or that might be getting your bed out at 6 AM and doing that workout, because if that's the only time you have to do it, then you're gonna do it. And it's not easy in the moment. No one really wants to do that, like until you get into the habit and it feels normal. But you know, when you first do that, no one wants to do that. And yes, everyone would rather pick the cake than the I don't know, not the cake, the salad. That sounds so like cliche, like the salad and the cake, but you know what I mean, I'm going extremes here. Or someone would rather stay in bed than work out because it's comfy on a cold winter's day. But like long-term gratification, you would choose the other one, because although it feels harder in the moment, it's also going to boost your confidence because it's a sense of achievement. You're doing something hard at the beginning of the day, and that's just gonna propel you for the rest of the day and the other decisions you're gonna make. So yes, and always do things that scare you, that feels right. Obviously there's a lot of things that could scare you, but things that like, you know, that will challenge you and it's good for you, because that will only push you to grow further. Because if you always stay within your comfort zone, you're gonna stay in the same place and you're never really gonna grow, you're never really gonna experience something different, and you're just gonna stay in the same place. So you need to grow and put yourself out there, do things that scare you, do things that challenge you and you don't want to do, but I promise you it will make you into a better person. Number 6, romanticizing life is not always a situation, it's how you choose to see it and act towards it. So this is basically taking whatever situation you are at this moment and romanticizing it. So for example, I live in Sydney, if you don't know, and we're in lockdown right now. Well, we have been for like 7 weeks. 6-7 weeks. To be honest, it's been quite great. I really feel like I've really like found myself, and like even more so, and just got into a good routine. But anyways, I'm very blessed to like be near the beach also. We're in lockdown, and the only thing you can really do is go on walks, go to the shops for food, and that's about it, and do like sports outside or like exercise outside. So every day you could be like, wow, like there's nothing I can do but like, you know, stay inside and just be so annoyed at how we're still in lockdown, and all we can do is go on a walk and go to the food shop. Like, how boring. Like, you could look at life that way, but you could also switch it and be like, wow. You could also switch it and be like, wow, like I'm so lucky I get to go on these walks every day. Like, going to the grocery shop is so much fun. I love going to a grocery shop. You know, going on these walks is so fun. Like, I get to listen to a new podcast every day. It's like me time. Like, maybe, you know, today I'm gonna wear a cute outfit, or, you know, I'm gonna take some cute pics or I'm gonna call my family or my friends on this walk. It's gonna be a great time. So it's the same activity, but it's two different ways to see it. The first one, you're really like just not putting a lot of good energy into that situation, and yeah, maybe it's gonna be grumpy for you. But the other one, when you're romanticizing it, you're like, wow, like I get to do this and it's so fun and I love this experience. Like, you really like just give a lot of like love into that, and that just makes life so much better, because why would you not want to see life that way? Like, why would you want to see it in a bad way when you could see it in a good way? You know what I mean? So like, yeah, romanticizing life and just making everything you do like so special, you know? Like, my morning routine, like I get to wake up, I get to spend time on my own and like create my dream life through like meditation and journaling and visualizing and all this stuff. And then, you know, I get to go on my walk and like listen to a new podcast and just like feel really in touch with myself and nature and whatever. So I mean, you get what I mean, but it's like really romanticizing each thing you do. Like, even making your coffee, like, you know, this is such a special moment. Like, create like a nice routine around it and make it feel like extra, and life is a lot more fun when you do that. Okay, number 7, you will always get through the season and will come out even stronger and wiser. So there's always a reason why whatever happening is happening. And it's either to teach you a lesson, to get you out of old habits, or put you on a different path that's more aligned. So this has been, I notice it more and more. I feel like every time I'm put through a situation that is really challenging for me and puts me in a place that maybe isn't so positive, and I'm finding it really hard and like difficult to get through it, I always get through it, always, and I always come out feeling like so amazing after, like, because the amount of self-work that I choose to do in between that process of like feeling or like not liking an outcome or whatever, and then doing the work to like get to understand why I'm feeling like this, it's honestly transformative. Like, every time you feel like you're in this lull or this place where you don't feel great, and it feels kind of like rock bottom, like, the more rock bottoms you reach, honestly, the like more amazing you come out of it, because you experience these things and your strength, and you grow and you learn things and you learn more things about yourself, and then you come out of it and you're like, wow, like I really poured myself out that myself. And that is just a really like special moment, and you should be really proud of that too. So it's like, each time you are going through something, just think to yourself, like, what is this teaching me? Like, what is this trying to teach me? And if you're experiencing things that are like happening over and over again, but in like different ways, that means you haven't learned your lesson, and you need to like change the normal behavior or the habit that you do to learn this lesson. And a lot of the time, I think we are taught the same lesson and go through the same pain. It's because we're too scared to do something different, because it feels comfortable to do the same thing and act the same way, because it's like always how we've been like taught as we've been brought up. But when you change the way that you act or the way that you respond to things in a more positive way, like, something amazing and even better is coming your way. Because it's you telling to the universe, like, nah, I am not going through this again. Like, I'm ready to let go of this. I don't care if it means I lose something, this person, this job, whatever. but I'm ready to let go of it. And then once you send that message to the universe or God, they will be like, okay, like she's ready for the next step, and then something amazing will come through. So you just got to have the trust and the belief that that will happen. Number 8, reading books and listening to podcasts and like just basically doing this self-development work, surrounding yourself with positivity, the music that you listen to, your environment. This is so important. This is so important because your surroundings, I don't know why I'm being so like, your surroundings make such an impact on how you are as a person. Like, for example, if you're surrounding yourself with like beautiful music when you wake up, and affirmations, and listening to uplifting, positive, motivating podcasts, reading these books that inspire and motivate you, like you're gonna like be in such an amazing euphoric state, versus, and like surrounding yourself with people that uplift you and inspire you and like make you grow and make you think and challenge you in good ways. Whereas if you are surrounding yourself with like music that's really angry, for example, like sad, and or like all the time, because obviously it's good to process your emotions too, anyway. Yeah, and listen, and I don't know, listening to the news all the time that's telling you that this has happened to one country and this person got murdered and all this kind of stuff. I'm not saying don't be aware, but don't constantly surround yourself with that news. Like, sorry, my camera just ran out of battery. Oh, weird. Just delete some stuff, so sorry if the camera has changed, angle has changed. Wait, what was I saying? If you're gonna surround yourself with all this negative news, it's just gonna make you feel negative because you're like thinking about it. And you know, if you're surrounding yourself with people that have bad habits and aren't gonna uplift you and just puts you in a place of like negativity, like you're gonna follow that, because like even subconsciously. Like, okay, so another analogy, if you're trying to learn a different language, say you're trying to learn Spanish, and you're going to these Spanish lessons, but the whole time you're surrounded by people who are just speaking English because they're not into learning Spanish, like you're not going to learn much Spanish because, you know, the people around you are talking English. That's a weird analogy. I'm coming up with the weirdest analogies, I don't know why, but like that's what I mean. For example, if you're trying to grow, if you're trying to like, I don't know, grow your business, make more money, like be around more positive people, but you're surrounding yourself with the same people that are negative or don't really care about like growth in like finance and wealth and career and happiness and all this stuff, it's gonna be really hard for you to like do that. Because I always say the 5 people that you hang around with the most are essentially you, whether you want it to be or not. So if you have a look at your closest friends and the closest people that you spend time with, who are they? Because who they are really is who you are. We're human. Like, the more you hang around with someone, the more we pick up on their habits, the way that they act, the way that they treat people, their like the way they look at life, like all of this. So like environment is a really important thing to pay attention to. Number 9, your intuition and gut is always right, period. Just always pay attention to your intuition and your gut, because it's always right, whether you like to believe it or not. Like, you know, when you like have a gut feeling and then you try and like logically figure it out in your head and you're like, no, but like if I think about this, like if you just listen to your gut and your intuition, like stop ignoring it and just listen to it, and that is the answer. You always end up finding out in the end that you're like, I knew I was right. And that is your intuition and gut speaking, especially for women. We are very in tune. Number 10, surrender. Don't try and control everything, but focus on how you can be in this present moment. So surrendering is something that I've like tried to do more. So I guess I've gotten a lot better at it, but like when I was younger, I liked to have control over things. I kind of had that perfectionist mindset. As I'm growing older, I'm trying to like get rid of that, because having a perfectionist mindset is not a good thing. I used to think it was a good thing, but it's not a good thing. But yeah, surrendering and just letting things be is really important. Kind of goes back to kind of trusting the universe and trusting God that like it will give you what you want, and the whole thing of like, if it's going to be yours, like it will always be there. If you have an intention and say you want to achieve this one thing, when you put in the work, and if you're putting in the work and you do that, just surrender to it and just like don't obsess over it, because the more you obsess over it, the more you're trying to like gain this control over it. Whereas like if you just surrender to it and just be like, okay, cool, I've done all I can do, and whatever happens happens, like I will accept that. I just feel like that gives you a peace of mind as well, because like when you surrender, it's just like you're just trusting, and that's what it is. You're trusting out of love and not like being fear-based as well. Okay, number 11, trust and believe in the higher power of the universe and God. Strengthen your faith. So this is another one that I feel like in the past few years I've really like become a lot more spiritual. I never was really spiritual growing up. Like I didn't follow religion, like my parents weren't religious. My mom's Christian now, and so is my sister. But that was a decision they made when they were old, like as an adult. But yeah, I never really like had a religion or anything to follow. So, and I'd heard a lot about God and stuff, but recently I've been going more to a church called Hillsong, and it really strengthened my relationship with God, and also like just understanding how like the universe works too. I really believe that everyone's relationship with their religion is so different and it's so unique, so I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong with that. But that's like a whole nother topic. It's very personal, I guess, with people as well. When I believe in like a higher power, I just feel more protected and more like, you know, you can't do everything yourself. You can only get so far on your own, but when you have that faith and belief, you know that you're always protected, and like you have that strength like and guidance that's like helping you along the way. So I think that strengthening my relationship with the universe and God has like really helped me develop as a person as well. Okay, number 12, gratitude over wanting. Stop chasing and just be in a state of receivership, attracting and surrendering. Instead of always chasing like what you want, so instead of being like, I want this, why have I not got this, blah 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 blah, it's, you're not showing gratitude, because the secret is to really get something you want, you have to already be grateful for it as if it's already happened. So gratitude is such an important thing. It's so simple, but it's, and not many people do it if you're not conscious of it. Like now I say what I'm grateful for. I literally list like 6 things I'm grateful for in the morning in my journal. I wake up and I'm literally like, I'm grateful for blah blah. Usually it's such a beautiful day. I'm grateful for this beautiful day. Like it can be something so simple like that. And then for dinner, I will say 3 things that I'm grateful for. And then in the evening, I'll write down what I loved about today, what I'm grateful for. So like just always having that gratitude on your mind is really important. Being grateful and just like, you don't need anything more really. Like being like, I am so grateful for everything that I have already. Like I don't need anything, but like I'm grateful for what's to come, if that makes sense. To attract things, you can't be in the state of like wanting and needing, because that's like out of fear and out of like, yeah, it's like out of fear, because you're like, if I don't have this, then blah blah blah. But like when you're just grateful and in the state of like surrendering and just receiving, it just creates more abundance. So number 13, meditate, journal, affirmations. So doing this consistently, and by the way, consistency is everything, has been life-changing. Like honestly, life-changing. Like journaling is one thing that's been life-changing. I've probably been doing it consistently every single day for like, I would say definitely over the past year. I've written my journal every single morning. Before that I was doing like this 5-minute journal thing for like a year, and then before that I would like journal here and there, but not like every day. But like yeah, over the past like definite year I've been journaling every day, and it's just been so amazing. And then over the past year I've also been doing like meditations every day, and recently more like visualization. So just having this like, doing that all together has been so powerful. Journaling is basically your free therapist. Like writing down all the shit that goes in your head down on paper is so like therapeutic, and just it's just a brain, you can just do a brain dump. Like what I journal every day is different. Sometimes I'm like just writing down what I'm grateful for. Sometimes I'm writing all my goals and like what life I want to create for myself. If I'm like deep in the feels, I'll like write down what I'm feeling, but then take like a positive spin on it. I'll never really write down like something really negative and then just like dwell in it. I think it's good to write down how I feel if it's negative, but then I'll try and like spin it and be like, okay, like I dissect it. I'm like, why do I feel this way? Like, what in my childhood has sparked this feeling up in me? Just like those type of things. So yeah, I think doing those consistently has been life-changing. It really helps me develop as a person, makes me more aware and conscious, and helps me just like take control of my own life. Which goes on to point number 14. Your thoughts / energy create your reality. Take 100% responsibility of your life and don't fall into the victim mentality. This has been also life-changing. Don't fall into the victim mentality. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Sometimes I do this and I'm like, I fall into this victim mentality, but then I remember and I pull myself out of it, because I'm like, anything that's happened to me, I'm letting it happen to me. So like, I am the reason this is happening. So take 100% responsibility of your life, and you will find your power, and you will realize that, you know, this has happened because you let it. All your life choices in the past has led you to be where you are right now. So if you're in a like situation that you're not happy with, you let that happen. So change it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have the power to change what you want. So don't fall into the victim mentality of blaming the people around you, the environment you're in, your income, your whatever. You can change that. So take responsibility. I'm sorry if the lighting is going a bit dark. The sun is set right now, so I better hurry up. 15. Nothing is forever, so be grateful for the now and have peace in knowing better things are coming. So I guess you could say, like, nothing is forever. That can sound quite sad, but it's not. It's actually exciting, because you don't want something to last forever, if that makes sense. Like, and I don't mean, you know, this, for example, a person, like, they're not going to be forever in your life. Like, maybe they will be, but like how you are in that moment, that's not going to last forever. You as a person will evolve, and so will that person. But it's like knowing that nothing is forever. This current situation is not going to last forever, like, makes it exciting. So whatever situation you're in, whether that's good or bad, just know that being grateful for the now and what you have is really important, because yeah, you might not get this moment ever again. So it's like, just really cherish that and try and be more present. That's something that I'm trying to work on more, is like being more present in the moment and not overthinking things and letting my past define my future. Like, just be present in this moment, and like, there is really nothing to really worry about. So point number 16, say no when you mean it. Say yes when fear stops you, and put yourself first. Saying no is very important. This goes back to the people pleasing thing. Don't say yes just because you want to please someone else if you really want to say no, because you're only going to hurt yourself. So say no when you really don't want to do something. But if you're wanting to say no based on fear, say yes if you really want to do it, if that makes sense. So for example, like, I'm going to use another extreme analogy. Say someone asks you to go skydiving, and you've always wanted to do it, it's on your bucket list, but obviously it's quite a scary thing to many people, and you might be like, no, I'm not doing that, because just no. But the reason you're saying no is because you're scared, but your heart wants to say yes if you really want to do it. Does that make sense? So it's like, but then why do you say yes on things that you really don't want to do just because, you know, you're trying to please someone? So you need to put yourself first and do what makes you happy. And, you know, that goes back to challenging yourself as well and doing things that scare you, because no can also be a scary thing to say no, because you're scared of whether maybe you upset that person or whatever, but that's not your responsibility, that's theirs. So yeah, learn to say no. 17. What might seem like a big deal at the time, look at it from the bigger picture, you'll be okay. So this is a lesson, because it's like, everyone gets in these situations where they're like, guys, it's really not a great time right now, and you might be struggling a bit and you're trying to figure out, how am I going to get out of this? Let's all breathe, take a deep breath, and just know everything is always going to work out for you. Like, maybe in the situation it's not working out, but it will, because you're going to figure it out, and you've always figured it out, so why, like, would you not figure it out this time? Do you know what I mean? Have faith and belief that you have the confidence, the ability to get through it. So yeah, I think that's an important one that I have learned is always to trust yourself and just know that things will always work out in the end for the better. Because sometimes things happen, you're like, why did that just happen? The outcome is always better than you imagined, I always find. Number 18, it's important to connect with your inner child and look within old childhood habits that you can change. So a lot of the time, the ways that we react if we're not conscious about it is due to our childhood. From ages 0 to 7, we are literally a sponge. We soak up everything around us. So this is how our parents acted towards us, this is how our parents acted towards each other, is how our friends were, like how people were towards us, like all of it, like the things that we consume, the media we consumed, like literally all of it. So, you know, now that we're older, we obviously are more conscious. A lot of the time these habits are so deeply ingrained into us, we're not conscious of it, and we react in ways that aren't really us. And you need to like look deep down into your childhood, and this is where like journaling helps. And also like I've never got a therapist, and I feel like I do want to, because I think anyone, like everyone, would benefit from a therapist, whether you're going through something really tough or not. Like, it's just good to do that. Having a coach or a mentor or whatever helps you uncover these like past traumas almost, to then kind of clear things up and help you see things from like a clear perspective. Because a lot of the times the things that you think are normal, or the things that you think have always been that way, like that's not the way, like that's not always true, and there's always like a different route, there's always a different way that you can go. Like, you create your own reality, so it's like what you say goes. So if you're going to always believe that you're doomed for failure, then guess what, that's probably going to happen. If you have this belief that's like ingrained in you that like everything I do is always successful, that's also probably going to happen. And your thoughts become reality, and I think that's also an important lesson I've learned. Number 19, positive energy attracts more positive and vice versa. By speaking negatively, you will only attract more of that. So I kind of touched on that basically, but yeah, the more you speak negatively, the more negative energy will come to you, because you're embodying in that energy. But if you focus on the positives, like more positives will come to you because you're grateful for it. So it's quite like a simple thing, but like a lot of people forget it, and sometimes I forget it. Like, this is literally my top life lessons that I wish I could remember like at all times of life. But yeah, it's, you know, you need to remind yourself of these things daily, to be honest. Okay, number 20, time to rest is a good thing. Cherish those moments and don't feel guilt for it. So I think with the culture that we're in at the moment, the way that we're always like go, like, you know, sleep when you're dead, always on the grind, like especially when I live back in London, like always working, like never rest. Like if you don't work past certain time, like you're made to look lazy. Like, no, like that needs to stop, because rest is so important, and having that time to rest and work is also so important. Because if you are working all the time, you never have that break, so you're constantly burnt out, you're never at your peak, because like you're just draining your batteries, and then like you're always working, so like it never seems like exciting, because you're like always doing it. Whereas like when you give yourself time to rest and not feel guilty for it, it's more creative. Like you get out and you're like, you feel more creative, you're full of more ideas, because you probably let yourself have this time off and experience more of the world, and you come back and you're feeling so inspired and so like more excited to work, because you know you have this time to work and you had your time to rest. So yeah, when you focus on like resting and not feeling guilty for it, then like that's really important. And also this goes with like working out as well. Like, you know, the more you work out doesn't necessarily mean that the more results you get. Like, you know, when you rest, that's actually your time to recover and your muscles to rebuild. That's when you gain muscle. Like when you're working out, you're tearing down the muscles. So, and when you're resting, you're building them. So if you put that analogy into like work life and everything else as well, it's like, it makes a lot more sense in that way. Number 21, happiness is not found externally, it's a feeling of wholeness within. Okay, so this goes back to the whole thing of like, stop chasing. Like if you're always chasing for the next goal or to be happy, like you'll always be chasing forever, because happiness is found within. Happiness is being appreciative and grateful for the now and who you are at this very moment. And you know, if everything was taken away from you, like you are still happy within, because you know like nothing can take that away from you. So working on that kind of happiness and just being is really important, because I feel like all the rest of the things are just built on like ego and like wanting things. And like this is something that I'm trying to do as well, just focus on being happy within and not letting anyone else or anything else decide on my happiness and how I feel, because like, yeah, I decide how I feel, and if I decide to feel happy, I want to feel happy within and not base my happiness on like the job I have or the money I make or the people, like the person I'm with, or like anything, or the things that I have. Like that is not, like that is a contributor of happiness. Those things, yes, bring us a type of happiness, but it's more of like a bonus, whereas like you need to be happy within before any of those things. Otherwise I feel like there'll be problems in the future. 22, let go of the ego. So, and I wrote, there's a lot and you don't always have to be right all the time. This is one thing I'm still working on, and yeah, I think everyone always has an ego, and it's not always a bad thing to have an ego, but it's like controlling your ego and not feeding into it, because like things like always having to be right and like having this status or having this like certain thing, and like the goals that you achieve, the goals that you set, sorry, like if it's based on ego, then it's not going to be fulfilling. So really like letting go of the ego and going back to finding inner peace and just being, I feel like it's an important life lesson, which I'm still doing at the moment. Reading this really great book, I am still reading it. It's called A New Earth, and it talks a lot about that at the moment, so really interesting. And then also Jay Shetty's book, I Think Like a Monk, that talks a lot about ego as well. By the way, I'm sorry the lighting has been like, is pretty dark now, but I'm just gonna try and finish this video. I'm like literally almost sitting in the dark. 23, focus on what you have, not what you don't, because you'll always be chasing. So I kind of touched on this, to be honest, but like the more money, things, achievements won't bring you long-term happiness. Like you'll be in a constant state of high and low. So I guess that connects to the last point. Like when you attach your happiness to these external things, you'll always be in a constant state of high and low, because you're basing your happiness on external things that you can't really control. So yeah, having that happiness within is like important. Point 24, always have a beginner's mindset and be open to new ideas. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Allowing that and honoring that is actually really special, because you're just letting yourself be vulnerable and being confident in that. So yeah, also my battery's running out, so I need to be quick. Disaster. Joking, this has been a great video. I've just talked a lot. I've been talking for like an hour. Number 25, the final one, and this is one that I feel like I've learned more recently and has really helped me dramatically. So don't put people on a pedestal. We're all equal, and you're just as deserving as the next person or the next thing or whatever. And this is important because this really helps with your confidence as well, and just knowing that like no one is better than anyone. Like it doesn't matter like whether, you know, their status or like the way that they act. I think just knowing that we're all human at the end of the day, and not putting anyone on a pedestal is so important, because when you put yourself on a pedestal, you're saying to everyone or the universe or whatever that that person is more important than you, which is like not true, because like no one's more important than anyone. It's like you need to put everyone off that pedestal and just like see everyone as equal and as one. And when you do this, you allow your most authentic self to come through as well. When you allow your most authentic self to come through, like that is when people will see the real you. And at the end of the day, people are just people, you know, even if they're like really famous, for example, or like the president or whatever, like humans are still humans, and we're all the same. I'm gonna have to say bye really quickly because my camera is about to run out of battery, and it's completely dark outside, so my apologies on that. But thank you so much for watching on that. Hi guys, I'm on my phone because my camera ran out of battery, and I'm really sorry about that. I really am not the best on my part, apologies, but thank you so much for watching my video. I feel like these really were the top 25 tips that would have helped me like a long time ago if I kind of knew them throughout my teens or whatever. But I hope they helped you, and if you found them useful, then let me know in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.